Alright guys, welcome back to JorDan's Medieval Brawl Season 2. We got the Viper here in the red trunks on the Cumans. The top left side of the map. Lower right side of the map, we've got Valas on the Bohemians in the green trunks. So we're here in their game 2. I'm not too sure who's actually won their game 1 yet, so I'm not going to be able to spoil things for you. So, with the Viper on Cumans, he can make Town Center and make Rams from Feudal, as well as having cheaper production facilities, faster cavalry train speed, access to Kipchaks, and step husbandry, so even faster train speed for cavalry archers and for some of the cavalry lines. So Valas on Bohemians is going to have access to cheaper and earlier texture, cheaper technology buildings, stronger spearman line, so that should be good against the cavalry civ, and free mining tax. Bearing in mind the mining tax in AoE 2 often take a long time to pay off, so you can almost consider it a flat upgrade in terms of the mining tech boosts. It's for Valas to be able to get those, well, access to those as soon as he ages up, basically. So two very formidable, fairly newish civilizations. We're here on Yucatan, adjusted for JorDan's Medieval Brawl. So Valas eager to try and wall in that main gold mine. There's a lot of gold there relative to all the other patches of gold on the map, so you definitely don't want to lose control of it. Fervor and Sanctity, so I believe... Oops. Fervor and Sanctity, I believe they're the health and the movement speed techs for the monks. Ah, yeah, health and movement speed. So not only do they benefit monks, they actually benefit villagers for Bohemian players as well. So it makes them a little bit stronger when being raided, because it'll stack on top of Loom. So you end up with like 65 health villagers. Not going to be as good as an actual fight as Spanish villagers, because they've got such insane armor, and I think they even got bonus damage. But at least it's going to mean they can get away from cavalry and other raiding units a little bit easier. Be a little bit less likely to die because we're faster and tankier. These Cumans, they've got a pretty formidable H2, because I mean they've got the second town center which Viper's going for, which I believe builds slightly slower than a normal H3 town center as well. But Viper will be able to boom a couple of villages. He's had to age up a little bit earlier than Valas for this to really work, but yeah, with that quick age up, Valas is actually walling himself in for the moment, so it's sort of giving Viper the space to go for this, because this is not a huge but a reasonable wall investment, wood investment, and you've got to go for all the movement speed. I mean, spend all the time moving to the walls which eats up your gather time on the builders. So I do think Valas potentially preemptively walled a little early here, considering it's that Viper can really make this early town center pay off. Like, he's only just trying to harass with his starting scout. He's not going to have access to any early military, humans player, but he's going to start booming ahead on villages because, you know, this town center not far off from this herd here, so it's sort of in the perfect place really. There's gold, there's wood, and there's a really quick food source nearby, and even a slower food source just outside of farm placement area. So it looks like Valas is going to take quick castle age in response to the feudal age boom here by Viper. And again, Viper's making no attempt to really go for military or wall himself in just yet. Well, he's just starting to now. So I wonder if Valas could potentially have actually skipped all the walls and, you know, gone for a more efficient, economically efficient base layout while actually just trying to harass Viper. In saying that, it's really tough because you sort of got to try and get over the back here and harass the wood and the food to really do any good damage, because Viper can obviously just garrison around the town centers. He's even got safe gold gathering there, so this is what's really sort of impactful about the human second town centers. It gives you access to an ability to safe gather gold, or potentially food, or potentially, you know, gold plus another resource, which is probably the biggest thing. So Valas going for a fairly forward barracks here, but the village is here to try and slow this down. So Viper just trying to keep the villager busy with that low health scout. It's a bit of a bait. Valas is going to be able to finish off the castle, the barracks here, and has hit castle age. Just have to get these villagers out of here if he can. We'll try and safe wall them again in so we can get this workshop down. So he'll do just that. It's interesting seeing villagers chasing soldiers, but it seems to be working here for the Viper. Because bearing in mind he's boomed up to a huge villager lead of 20 in the meantime. Because Valas, you know, not only has he got one town center versus two, that one town center's got to be the one you got to age up from. So having two is actually more than twice as effective than having one. Having three is obviously still a big gain, but nowhere near the gain as having two is, in terms of, you know, the amount. Well, I mean the proportional gain. In terms of the amount, obviously it is still another stream of villagers over your opponent. But yeah, for now, Viper still just waiting on his castle age to kick in. Meanwhile, this is a huge economic advantage that he's really able to reap, provided that this mangonel spear push doesn't really get any damage done. Valas will be able to keep adding more siege, more infantry, and even start taking some monks. I mean, making some monks, possibly taking relics or keeping everything topped up here. Viper. Villager's not actually really being caught in the splash there at all. So Valas gonna try and punish this early greed. Ooh, but that's a big loss for him. It's a scout cap nabbing a monk there. mangonel shots. Not really getting any friendly fire. Except maybe then. I think the villagers might have actually finished that off. The Viper just trying to delay his opponent as best he can. Start booming his farm eco up a little bit more so he can really start pumping out, you know, the 2 stables unit production. Valas trailing by quite a number of villagers. Hasn't yet finished his second town centre up, but it is on the way. He has managed to delay a bit of gathering while he's been taking out this town centre. But another monk being nabbed by a scout cav. So, man, this guy finally falling, but has managed to nab 2 monks off Valas. So Viper, I think he's feeling pretty comfortable because he hasn't lost that second town centre. And he's managed to take out a couple of mangonels, not very cheap. Take out a couple of monks, also not very cheap. And the step lancers, humans can just shit out cavalry ridiculously fast, can't they, later on? And even now this is a little scary because Valas, nothing really to help defend these guys. He's going to have to try and quick wall in. Everything is best he can here. Some spears coming in to clean things up. He's adding more to this army. Meanwhile, the Viper gonna add some more cavalry. Oh, losing a scout cav there, so a little sloppy, but he can afford to lose a military unit or 2. I don't think he wants to lose too much eco here. Wants to maintain that mill lead, but well, this is rough for Valas, who needs to try and all these guys in potentially because he's lost a villager there. Ooh, Valas didn't quite hit the monks, and he just scraped the other mangonel. Oh, and he just having his mangonel scrape there, the monk's not quite hit. Good number of cavalry now for the Viper, and still with that big villager lead. Only got the 2 town centres here for Valas. Viper taking the engagement, getting one of the monks, but he's lost the rest of his scout cav. But the Kipchaks tentative to re-engage here. Oh, that's a nice shot there from Viper. He's picked off the monk. I was going to say it was a bit of a risk putting the, sorry, not the Kipchaks, the step lancers so far forward there. Because that monk, if he snatches one of them, it can really turn the tide. Not only do you lose the unit, your opponent gets it. Viper going to work away at the wall here for Valas, and I think he's going to be able to cut through before anything can repair it while we've got trade between mangonels. And Valas walking away the victor there, but I think it's a bit Pyrrhic because he's actually got to repair his other mangonel, which will cost him more resources overall. So these are things you've got to think about when taking those sorts of trades. But Pike's going to cost effectively clean up Step Lancer there. Well, we've got a successful conversion here for Valas, so he's going to get a mangonel off the Viper, which would be really nice for him. He's able to keep applying this pressure here, and the Step Lancers are forced to try and help tie up a bit of these pikes in the middle of the army here. Town Centre able to pick off a pair of pikemen there, so that's quite nice the Viper. Valas should be able to eventually take this town center down with 3 mangonels chipping away at it, but now they've... Ooh, that's a nice conversion, but I was going to say there's no real guard for them at the moment. Pikeman having to quickly scarper in and save the mangonels. It's just topping some units up. Viper continuing to add some cavalry. He's got Kipchak and not Kipchak, sorry, Step Lancer and Light Horseman production. Valas just adding another monk and a villager at the moment. Got up to 2 TC, but he's not actually got 2 TC Vil production. It's a little bit short on the food he needs at the moment for that. Perhaps floating a little too much wood. Although you do need to float a little bit of wood just to make sure you're not ever going to run dry on farms, but we need 1 or 2 more farmers just to maintain that Vil production. Here we go, there we go. Viper's eco looking really impressive. Still got a nice village lead up to 3 town centers now. The lead not growing at the speed it was, but it's still growing. Now that forward castle will be able to finally get on his main gold mine. He's had to be mining on peripheral gold so far. Valas is going to have to try and defend as best he can here because he'll be a little bit behind economically going into late game. He'll be looking to make sure he has no more losses because he's not really walled in at all here. Does have good map control. He's still denying a little bit of stone here for the Viper. The Viper's got access to, you know, a good amount of resources. Now got access to that main gold stone here still. That other gold mine, Valas could potentially still pressure off him though. Oh, but now the Viper's through and getting a little bit more raiding damage done here. Villagers should ultimately be able to clean up these cavalry, but not before a couple of them get taken out. And Viper able to pinch one of the monks, losing a couple of cavalry. Valas, the pressure's on to try and defend back at home. This is Warloff. Again, he hasn't doubled up on it, thrown a layer of stone walls or some houses behind it just to prevent this sort of run by here. So the Viper will snatch another couple of Vils. Village lead now rolling out to 30. Viper's going to start pushing forward now with some stables. Try and focus on more villages and interrupt Valas's farm eco once again. Valas now opting to raid the Viper's farm eco. Then I think he probably should have tried hitting here a little earlier perhaps. The Viper ready to defend it, putting a lot of pressure. The front side of Valas's base has managed to sneak these guys in as well. Valas is now going to house wall the gap. The Spear should be able to clean this up pretty quickly. At the same time, a lot of pressure being exerted here by the Viper, who's still holding on to that villager lead. Ooh, Valas is actually walling in the gold here of the Viper. And GG, the Viper takes the game.